Marcus Thompson, 34 years old, former Marine sergeant, and for the last 3 years battling severe depression. That night, going to Madison Square Garden was a miracle because just 1 week earlier, he had made his darkest decision. But something stopped him, an Ozzy Osbourne concert ticket. And that night, the most unexpected moment of his life would unfold. Because when Ozzy Osbourne spotted him in the crowd and called him up on stage, the truth that emerged shook everyone. No one at Madison Square Garden that cold December evening knew what was about to happen. Not the 18,000 screaming fans. Not Sharon Osbourne watching from the VIP section. Not even Ozzy himself. But in the next 12 minutes, rock history would witness one of its most profound and emotional moments. 7 days before the concert, Marcus Thompson sat alone in his small apartment in Queens, New York. The walls were bare except for a single Black Sabbath poster from 1970, faded and torn at the edges. It had been his father's. On the coffee table in front of him lay 2 items, a bottle of pills and a concert ticket for December. Marcus had returned from his 3rd deployment in Afghanistan 5 years ago. The physical wounds had healed, but the psychological scars ran deeper than anyone could see. The nightmares came every night, the sounds of explosions, the faces of brothers he couldn't save, the guilt that ate him alive with each sunrise. His therapist at the VA hospital had tried everything. Medications, group therapy, EMDR sessions. Nothing worked. His wife had left him 2 years ago, unable to bear the weight of his darkness. His parents had passed away when he was young. He had no siblings. The Marines had been his family, but civilian life felt like an alien planet where he didn't belong. That week, Marcus had made his decision. He would end it, but there was one thing left. One final thing he wanted to do. His father had taken him to his first Black Sabbath concert when he was just 8 years old. It was the last good memory he had before his father died in a car accident 6 months later. Ozzy Osbourne's music had been his companion through every dark moment since then. When he saw that Ozzy was coming to Madison Square Garden, something inside him whispered, one last time. He bought the ticket with his last paycheck. It would be his goodbye to the world. One last concert, then darkness. Marcus looked at his reflection in the bathroom mirror. His eyes were hollow, surrounded by dark circles. His beard was unkempt. He barely recognized the man staring back at him. The young Marine who had proudly served his country seemed like a ghost from another lifetime. He pulled out his old Black Sabbath t-shirt, the one his father had given him. It was worn and faded, with holes near the collar, but it still fit. He held it close, remembering his father's voice. This music, Marcus, it saved me when I was young. It'll save you too if you let it. But Marcus didn't believe it could save him anymore. Nothing could. December 17th, 2019. The cold New York wind cut through the crowds gathering outside Madison Square Garden. Marcus stood among them, hands deep in his jacket pockets, his old Black Sabbath shirt underneath. He had no plan beyond this night. After the concert, he would go home and end it all. As he entered the arena, the energy hit him like a wave. Thousands of people, all gathered for the same reason, to witness a legend. Young kids, with their parents, old-timers who had been fans since the 70s. Everyone united by the music. For a brief moment, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in years. Connection. He found his seat. Row 4, center stage. He had splurged on a good ticket. If this was his last night, he wanted to be close. As he sat down, he noticed the people around him. A father with his teenage daughter, excitedly talking about their favorite songs. An elderly couple holding hands, probably in their 70s, wearing matching Black Sabbath jackets. A group of friends, laughing and sharing drinks. Marcus felt more alone than ever. The lights dimmed. The crowd erupted. The opening act played, but Marcus barely registered it. His mind was elsewhere, floating between memories of his father, flashbacks from Afghanistan, and the dark certainty of what awaited him after tonight. Then the moment arrived. The stage went black. A single guitar riff cut through the darkness. The opening notes of Bach at the Moon exploded through the speakers. Lights blazed, and there he was, Ozzy Osbourne, 71 years old, but still commanding the stage with raw power. The crowd went insane. Marcus stood up, his heart pounding. For the first time in weeks, he felt something other than numbness. The music crashed over him like thunder. Ozzy's voice, weathered but still powerful, filled every corner of the arena. Song after song, Marcus lost himself in the performance. Mr. Crowley, flying high again, I don't know. Each track brought back memories of better times. His father air guitaring in their living room, road trips with the stereo blasting, moments when life felt possible. But beneath the temporary relief, the darkness waited. Marcus knew that in a few hours, this would all be over. The music would fade, the lights would go out, and he would go home to silence. Halfway through the concert, Ozzy paused to address the crowd. He was drenched in sweat, breathing heavily, but smiling. "You know," he said in his thick Birmingham accent, "I've been doing this for over 50 bloody years, and every time I look out at you all, I'm reminded why I keep going." The crowd cheered. Ozzy took a sip of water and continued. "Music saved my life. I'm not being dramatic. Without music, I'd probably be dead or in prison. I came from nothing, absolute nothing, and when things got dark, which they did many times, music was the light that guided me through." Marcus felt tears welling up. Ozzy's words hit too close to home. "So tonight," Ozzy continued, "I want to dedicate the next song to anyone out there who's struggling, anyone who's fighting their own demons, anyone who feels alone." He paused, looking out over the sea of faces. "You're not alone. We're all in this together." The opening notes of Mama, I'm Coming Home began to play. It was Marcus's father's favorite song, the one they had played at his funeral. Marcus couldn't hold back anymore. Tears streamed down his face. In his jacket pocket, he felt the small piece of paper he had brought. On it, he had written 3 words in black marker. "You saved me, Ozzy." It was meant to be his final message, a tribute to the music that had kept him alive this long, even if it couldn't save him in the end. Without thinking, Marcus pulled out the paper and held it up. His hands were shaking. His vision was blurred with tears. He didn't expect anyone to see it. He just needed to express it one last time. But someone did see it. Ozzy, in the middle of singing, glanced toward the front rows. His eyes locked onto Marcus, onto the sign, onto the tears. The Prince of Darkness, who had performed in front of millions, who had seen everything in his decades-long career, stopped singing mid-verse. The band kept playing, but Ozzy walked to the edge of the stage. He pointed directly at Marcus. "You," he said into the microphone. "You with the sign. Come here." The entire arena fell into confused murmurs. Security guards looked at each other, uncertain, but Ozzy was insistent. "Get this man up here, now." Marcus froze. He couldn't move. His heart was racing. The people around him were pushing him forward, shouting encouragement. Security rushed over, creating a path to the stage. In a daze, Marcus found himself walking toward the stage. His legs felt like rubber. The lights were blinding. 18,000 pairs of eyes were on him. As he reached the stage, Ozzy himself extended his hand and pulled him up. Standing on the Madison Square Garden stage, face to face with his hero, Marcus couldn't breathe. Ozzy looked at him with an intensity that cut through all pretense. "What's your name, mate?" he asked, his voice gentle but firm. "I'm Marcus," he stammered. "Marcus Thompson." Ozzy nodded. "Marcus, I saw your sign. You said I saved you. Tell me what you mean." The arena was silent now. Every phone was recording. Everyone was watching. Marcus looked out at the sea of faces, then back at Ozzy, and something inside him broke open. "I'm a veteran," Marcus began, his voice shaking. "Marines, 3 tours. I've been struggling since I came back. Depression, PTSD. He paused, his voice cracking. "I was planning to end it all tonight. After this concert, this was supposed to be my goodbye." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Some people started crying. Ozzy's expression changed from curiosity to deep concern. "But your music," Marcus continued, tears flowing freely now, "your music has been the only thing keeping me going. My dad, he took me to see you when I was a kid. It was the last good memory I have of him before he died. And every time I wanted to give up, I'd put on your songs and remember that feeling that there was still something worth living for." The arena was completely silent except for Marcus's voice. Ozzy put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. "Look at me, mate," he said softly but firmly. "I've been where you are. Different circumstances, but the same darkness. I've battled addiction, depression, tried to end it myself more than once. And you know what kept me alive? People like you. People who connected with my music. People who reminded me that my life had purpose." Ozzy turned to address the entire arena. "This man right here is a hero. He served his country. He's fighting battles most of us can't imagine. And he's still standing here, still fighting." He looked back at Marcus. "You think you're weak? You think you've given up? Brother, you're one of the strongest people I've ever met. You bought a ticket to this show. You showed up. You held up that sign. That's not giving up. That's holding on with everything you've got." Marcus couldn't speak. The weight of years of pain, isolation, and darkness seemed to lift, even if just for a moment. Ozzy kept his hand on Marcus's shoulder, grounding him, showing him he wasn't alone. "Here's what we're going to do," Ozzy announced to the crowd. "Marcus here is going to stay on this stage with me, and we're going to sing this song together. Because this song, Mama, I'm Coming Home, it's about finding your way back. Back to yourself, back to hope, back to life." The crowd erupted in applause and cheers. People were on their feet, many wiping away tears. Ozzy handed Marcus a microphone. "You know the words?" he asked, with a gentle smile. Marcus nodded, barely able to comprehend what was happening. The band started the song from the beginning. Ozzy began to sing, his weathered voice carrying decades of experience, pain, and survival. "Times have changed, and times are strange. Here I come, but I ain't this." When the chorus came, Marcus joined in. His voice was shaky at first, barely audible, but Ozzy encouraged him, nodding along, singing beside him. "Mama, I'm coming home." 18,000 voices joined them. The entire arena sang together, a massive chorus of solidarity and compassion. Marcus looked out at the sea of people, all singing for him, with him, and something profound shifted inside him. For the first time in 3 years, he didn't feel alone. As the song continued, Ozzy shared the stage with Marcus, letting him have this moment. The cameras captured everything. People in the crowd were crying, hugging each other, holding up their own signs of support. When the song ended, the applause was deafening. Ozzy hugged Marcus tightly. "You're going to be okay," he whispered in his ear. "It won't be easy, but you're going to make it. Promise me you'll keep fighting." Marcus, tears streaming down his face, nodded. "I promise," he managed to say. Ozzy wasn't done. He turned to the audience. "We're going to make sure Marcus gets the help he needs. My team will connect him with the best resources. But I need all of you to do something too." He paused for emphasis. "Look around you. Check on your friends. Check on your family. Check on that person who seems okay but might not be. We're all in this together. Music brought us together tonight, but compassion and love will keep us together." The arena erupted again. People were hugging strangers, wiping away tears, feeling the weight of Ozzy's words. Before Marcus left the stage, Ozzy did something unexpected. He took off his own leather jacket, the iconic one he had worn for the entire tour, and draped it over Marcus's shoulders. "This is yours now," he said. "When things get dark, put this on and remember tonight. Remember that 18,000 people stood with you. Remember that you matter." Marcus couldn't find words. He simply embraced Ozzy, holding on as if his life depended on it, because in many ways it did. As security helped Marcus back to his seat, the crowd gave him a standing ovation. People reached out to touch his hand, to offer words of encouragement. The father and daughter next to his seat hugged him. The elderly couple grabbed his hands and told him they were proud of him. Ozzy continued the concert, but the energy had shifted. It was no longer just a rock show. It had become a collective experience of healing, of community, of shared humanity. After the concert, as the crowd dispersed, Marcus sat in his seat, unable to move. He was still wearing Ozzy's jacket. His phone was flooded with messages, friend requests, people reaching out. The video of his moment on stage had already gone viral. Sharon Osbourne herself came down from the VIP section with a member of Ozzy's management team. She hugged Marcus like a mother would hug her son. "We've been trying to find you," she said warmly. "Ozzy wants to make sure you're taken care of." They gave Marcus a card with direct contact information for a top-tier trauma therapist who specialized in working with veterans, someone Ozzy's foundation personally funded. They also connected him with a veterans support group that met weekly in Manhattan. "This isn't just about tonight," Sharon explained. "Ozzy meant what he said. You're part of our family now. We're going to check in on you. Make sure you have what you need." Marcus was overwhelmed. "I don't know how to thank you," he said, his voice still raw from emotion. "You already did," Sharon replied. "You showed up tonight. You held up that sign. You gave Ozzy and all of us a reminder of why we do what we do. That's the greatest gift you could give." As Marcus finally left Madison Square Garden that night, walking through the cold New York streets, everything looked different. The city lights seemed brighter. The sounds felt less overwhelming. He pulled Ozzy's jacket tighter around himself, feeling its weight, its warmth, its meaning. He went home to his small apartment in Queens. The bottle of pills was still on the coffee table where he had left it. But now he looked at it differently. He picked it up, walked to the bathroom, and poured them down the toilet. He wouldn't need them tonight or any night. 6 months passed. Marcus Thompson's life didn't magically become perfect. The nightmares still came sometimes. The therapy was hard, forcing him to confront traumas he had buried deep, but he kept going. He attended his weekly veterans group. He took his therapy seriously, and whenever he felt himself slipping back into darkness, he would put on Ozzy's jacket and remember that night. The video from the concert had reached millions of people. Marcus received thousands of messages from other veterans, from people struggling with depression, from individuals who said his story gave them hope. He started volunteering at a local veterans organization, sharing his story, helping others who were fighting similar battles. In May 2020, Ozzy's team reached out. Ozzy wanted to see him again. They arranged a private meeting at a recording studio in Los Angeles. When Marcus walked in, Ozzy was waiting with a huge smile. "Look at you," Ozzy exclaimed, hugging him. "You look like a completely different person." And he was right. Marcus had gained healthy weight. His eyes were clear and bright. He stood taller, with purpose and dignity restored. "I wanted to thank you properly," Marcus said. "You saved my life that night." Ozzy shook his head. "No, mate. You saved your own life. You made the choice to hold up that sign. You made the choice to get help. You made the choice to keep living. I just gave you a little push." They spent hours talking, sharing stories, comparing experiences with darkness and recovery. Ozzy showed Marcus some of his new music, asked for his opinion. They laughed, they cried, they bonded like old friends. Before Marcus left, Ozzy had one more surprise. He handed him a framed gold record. "This is from the album that includes Mama, I'm Coming Home," Ozzy explained. "It's officially yours because that song means something different now. It's not just about me coming home. It's about you finding your way home, back to yourself, back to life." Marcus held the record, speechless. Ozzy continued, "I've been making music for over 50 years. I've won awards, sold millions of albums, played for millions of people. But that night at Madison Square Garden, when I looked into your eyes and saw your pain, when I watched you find a reason to keep fighting, that was the most important performance of my entire career." Today, Marcus Thompson works as a peer counselor for veterans struggling with PTSD. He shares his story openly, without shame, helping others understand that asking for help is strength, not weakness. He's rebuilt relationships with extended family. He's dating someone who understands his journey. He's living, truly living for the first time in years. Ozzy's leather jacket hangs in a frame on his living room wall, next to the gold record. Beneath them, a photo from that night at Madison Square Garden Garden, Marcus on stage, tears on his face, Ozzy's hand on his shoulder, and 18,000 people standing in solidarity. On the frame, Marcus has added a small plaque with words that have become his mantra. Music brought me to the edge. Music brought me back. Keep fighting. You matter. The story of that December night spread far beyond Madison Square Garden. It became a symbol of hope for veterans, for people struggling with mental health, for anyone who ever felt alone in their darkest moment. It reminded the world that celebrities are human too, that their art has real power to save lives, and that sometimes the most unexpected moments create the most profound impact.
Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, the man who bit the head off a bat, the rock legend who seemed larger than life, had shown the world something more important than any stage performance: genuine compassion, human connection, and the courage to stop a show to save a life.
And Marcus Thompson, the Marine who came to say goodbye, found a reason to say hello to a new chapter. Because on that cold December night, when Ozzy Osbourne called him up on stage, everything changed. Not just for Marcus, but for everyone who witnessed it, everyone who heard the story, everyone who needed a reminder that no matter how dark things get, there's always light ahead. You just have to hold on long enough to see it. If the story moved you, if it reminded you that mental health matters, that veterans deserve our support, that reaching out can save a life, share this video, because someone in your life might need to hear this story today. Someone might be fighting their own battles in silence, and knowing they're not alone might make all the difference.